Well, the weather this past week has been crazy spring-like, and spring, for me anyway, means baseball. But there's more to the game than multi-million-dollar players in the MLB. There are all kinds of baseball enthusiasts who play just for the sheer joy of it, and nowhere is that more apparent than in Ontario's Intercounty Baseball League. John Kastner is the league's commissioner. He's based in Stratford, but he's here with me in the studio today. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
So let's talk real baseball.
Absolutely.
When I say baseball to you, what do you think of?
You know, the obvious thing when you're in Ontario now, the first thing you think about is the Rogers Centre and crowds and $10 beers and $20 to park but for me, baseball for me is a beautiful Sunday afternoon where maybe it costs $5 or maybe it doesn't cost anything, and I sit 25 feet from the field and I can hear chatter between players and I can hear interaction between umpires and players, and where fans will yell at a player and say that's a great catch, and the guy will turn around and doff his hat. That to me, that's baseball.
So tell me about inter-county baseball. Some of the teams,
Yeah. Well, one of the fascinating things about the Intercounty Baseball League, the odd time somebody will say to me, how long's that league been around? And we're going to celebrate our 100th season in 2018.
Wow.
So this is our 99th year, and some of the teams in the league have been in the league for all 99 years.
Who are some of those?
So Kitchener and Guelph.
What are the names of these teams?
Yeah, so the Kitchener Panthers, the Guelph Royals, they've nearly always been the Guelph Royals.
Right.
The London Majors.
What's the Hamilton team?
Hamilton Cardinals.
Right.
And they're one of those teams in the league that replicate the uniform of a major league team.
Yeah.
So you have the Hamilton Cardinals, you have the Brantford Red Sox, and those teams, have uniforms similar to their names.
And my favorite hat was always the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball hat.
The Toronto Maple Leafs baseball hat is a great iconic image where they have that T in the middle of the Maple Leaf hat. And that hat is trademarked by the Intercounty Baseball team, and they do okay out of that hat.
Where do you get these players?
Well, the players in the Intercounty Baseball League, I always say there's three real sources of players. And as a former player who played in Stratford.
What was your position?
I was a second baseman. But very briefly, I was a utility player at best, pinch runner here, pinch hitter there. But there's really three sources of players. One is the guy who lives in town.
Right.
And the guy lives in town. He plays the team. He played for that team in that minor baseball organization as a kid. Now he plays for that team as an adult. He might miss some games because he has to coach his kid in minor ball. That's the one sort of player. The other sort of player is the guy who's played pro ball at some level, rookie ball, single A ball, and he's moved back home. And he's decided he's got a job in town or close to it, and he plays for that team. And the third guy is the guy who's 21, 22 years old, who's playing in the United States on a baseball scholarship, and he comes home every summer, and he wants to play really good quality ball against older guys, and that's the third sort of demographic that makes up our players.
So you think of this as a good quality baseball. This is not just, you might as well just play inter-county.
No, it's very good baseball. I mean, the one thing for me that I think from time to time, if I wanted to play now, I probably couldn't.
Right.
Just because of the quality of the ball. You look at last year, so you got 8 teams. So we probably had 50 players in the league last year who are on U.S. baseball scholarships. We've probably got another 20 players who are playing in the league who played minor pro baseball. So, if you look at 50 and 20, you got 70 guys. 70 guys, so about 7, 8 guys a team who are either playing U.S. college or have played some level of pro baseball.
Do they make some money?
No.
No money?
No, there was a time a few years ago where some guys were getting money, and you had guys show up who were, a guy who's just been released from AA baseball in the Oakland chain, and he lives in Vancouver, and all of a sudden he'd show up at our league, or a Canadian who's living in Minnesota, and all of a sudden he'd show up at our league. And we just sort of, when I took over as commissioner, that was one of the issues, and everybody just sort of put their hands in the middle and said, we can't do this. We don't have the money to do this. It'll kill us. And so we don't pay players.
So when you go to a game, what can you expect?
Yeah, well, there's a great variance in this league, and that's one of the real attractions. If you go to a game in Christie Pitts on a Sunday afternoon in downtown Toronto, just off the corner of Bloor and Christie. There's a natural amphitheater that surrounds there. And you can sit on the side of that hill, and you can sit with maybe 1,000 other people. And there'll be people there with baby buggies. There'll be people there having picnics. There'll be people there with a 6-pack of beer. There'll be people playing Frisbee down, out in the field, and they'll come and watch the game for a bit. That's one experience. If you go to London on
They have a
Friday
nice
night,
park in London.
beautiful park. One of the nicest parks, non-Major League parks in North America.
Yeah.
Beautiful park. Seats about 5,000. You can go there on a Sunday afternoon, a Friday night, and there might be 2,000 or 3,000 people there. And they have all sorts of, entertainment that takes place between innings. They have these, where a guy will roll a tire from third base to home, and a guy rolls from first base to home. And they have kids out there who have fights with water balloons.
Right.
They have also, spin the bat, and the winner gets an ice cream cone. And
Right.
It's a very much a community environment. And the thing in London is there's almost no parking. So it's a neighborhood event where all sorts of people walk, and you'll see people walking, and the lineup is, 400 or 500 people lined up to get in.
Who won last year?
Barry won.
What's
Barry Baycats. So that's
the Barry Baycats?
Yeah. So that's the third year in a row they've won.
Oh, a
They've
dynasty.
A dynasty. They've got a beautiful park about 5 kilometers outside of Barry. It's just in north of Barry, and a little recreation complex out there, and they've got a beautiful environment out there. It's a terrific park and great organization.
It's such a pastoral game, baseball. It is so connected to the land. Right?
That's the thing. You can sit out there, and when you go to a Major League game, I love Major League Baseball.
Sure.
There's no question. But when you go to an intercounty game, you're talking to the person next to you. Next you know, you're talking to the person behind you. And next you know, somebody says something. Aren't you? Oh, I played against that guy. And, it is so pastoral. And then even amongst the players, it's, hey, buddy, how you doing? Guys get to first base. And lots of guys have moved from team to team. And there's relationships and friendships.
Well, some of that goes on in Major League Ball, too. But you're talking about millionaires at this point, and we're talking about people who just play baseball because they can't stop playing baseball.
I remember when I went to Wilfrid Laurier University, and when I played, in 1979, one of the great treats was you'd play against a team, and you get to first base, which I rarely did. You get to first base, and maybe the first base was a guy you
had
went
to take a few more
with.
pitches.
Yeah, a guy you went to school with, or a guy who you knew from university, or you said, oh,
Are there any legends of the game in Intercounty? Are there any people who are really?
Well, right now there's an older player in the league. His name's Sean Riley, and he's from down around Burlington. He played on a number of different teams. Last year, he became the all-time hits leader, so the Pete Rose record, and he became the all-time home run record holder. So the depending on whose record you want to use, the Henry Aaron, Bobby Bonds or Barry Bonds record. So there's one guy who has more hits than anybody and has more home runs than anybody. He's a DH for Kitchener, and he's mid to late 30s. And
what's his day job?
I don't know what he does.
Yeah, I wonder, right?
I don't know what he does, but there's guys like that. There's guys like Bill Bykowski, who was a terrific player. I played with a guy named Kevin Higgins, who was the single season home run record holder for a while. Art Needy, who was the Iron Man of the Intercounty Baseball League, played till he was almost 50.
Wow.
He was the owner of the London Majors, and played well into his 40s, and he still holds the career mark for walks and career mark for games played, and there's some great
See, you should have taken more
stories.
Walks. If you'd taken
I should have taken more walks.
Your OBP would have been better.
Yeah, I was too anxious. Yeah, too anxious and not that good.
So what's the future for Intercounty?
Well, I think it's a terrific future. The one thing that really happens with the Intercounty is that we're not oblivious to what's happening in Major League Baseball, and it's very impactful for the Intercounty Baseball League as the province has caught and the country has caught Blue Jay fever again.
Yeah.
There's more kids at the park.
Oh, that's great.
There's more people who at the park who say, hey, I love baseball, but I don't feel like spending $100 6 or 7 times a year. I'll do it 2 or 3 times a year, and I might go to an Intercounty game 10 times.
Yeah.
We see a lot of kids. We see a lot of kids now who are baseball fans who are now hanging around the fence looking for somebody to autograph baseballs or autograph their shirt or autograph their hats. And
It must be fun for the
it's
players.
I think it's a healthy league, and I think it's really healthy because of the grassroots interest from the player perspective, and there's a real grassroots interest from
What's
the
your
player
furthest
perspective.
south team?
Furthest south would be London,
And how about north?
Barrie.
So,
So if you draw a triangle from London to Barrie to Toronto,
yeah, that's it.
that's it.
And there's no league like this in Northern Ontario, no league like this
and
in
we're really
Southwestern.
rare. Like it is a pretty unique league in the landscape of baseball in Canada, where you've got the number of former pros we have, the number of U.S. college players you have, and the number of local players you have, and where those three sort of pillars of players come together and merge in a league that's this old and plays this quality
Do you have a
baseball.
draft?
No.
So
No.
people just go to teams and say, I
People
want to
show-
try out.
Now we do have for new players, you have to be from that area.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so if you live in Hamilton and say I want to play baseball in Toronto, we have a rule that says, well, you got to go to Hamilton first.
And you just go to the tryouts, so they
Yep.
open tryouts?
And there's open tryouts.
When do you guys start?
Start May the 5th.
Ah,
And that's the other thing about this league is we start May the 5th and we're all done by Labor Day.
done.
And we finish Labor Day weekend. Our playoffs are set up because we have a lot of kids go away to school,
Right.
and we have a lot of guys who've got kids in school, who've got kids in hockey
And they got to get back to
practices.
work.
They
And
got to get back to work. They got to start, doing stuff after supper and things like that. So we finish. It's a conscious decision where we finish by Labor Day.
does Stratford have a team?
Stratford used to have a team for a long time.
Come on, you're a commish.
I know. And they've put in an application, or they're about to put in an application to rejoin the league.
Ah, nice.
In 2018.
How much coin do you need to do that?
Not very much. We're really
But a lot of
looking-
commitment.
Yeah, we're looking for what we really look for is not so much money to join the league. We're looking for teams that are viable.
Right.
And if somebody came to us and said it's $100,000 to join the league, we'd say, why don't you spend the $100,000 on making your team better instead of giving it to us? And we want teams to be viable and teams to be good.
And decent park and a good commitment.
Correct. And we have a really long list, about 50 items
Right.
of things we look for from new teams. Say, we need good parking, we need good lighting, we need good scoreboard, we need nice dressing rooms. We need to be, sure you're going to be able to do all these things.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, John. I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Have a great season.
Well, thanks. And you get weather like this, you can hardly wait.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
John Kastner is Commissioner of Ontario's Intercounty Baseball League. IBL action kicks off on the first weekend in May. Get the lowdown at the league's website, and you'll be able to get there via a link at cbc.ca/fresh air. Thanks.
Thank you.